Garia.
Melinda Ailes.
Nice
to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Do you mind if we stand for this presentation?
Oh, that would be great.
Okay, thank you. My name is Toomajian.
Nice to meet you, Melinda.
Alex Rufford.
Hi, Alex. Nice to
Pleasure
see you
to meet
again.
So we took on the task of creating a solo mo marketing campaign for the Buttonwood Park Zoo in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Now, solo mo is social media, local marketing, and mobile devices connected together to achieve a common goal.
So we developed Operation Bear, build, engage, and revisit. We want to build a larger social media audience and increase the content posted.
We want to engage with the audience on social media as well as in the zoo.
And we want to increase the revisiting that happens at the zoo.
The Buttonwood Park Zoo is located in New Bedford, Massachusetts, which is part of a larger community, the South Coast region of Massachusetts. The South Coast has two anchor cities, Fall River and New Bedford, and a lot of local media around with blogs and social media outlets as well as radio stations to help us get our message across. The South Coast is also really close to the Rhode Island border, which has a lot of access to Providence, Rhode Island, Newport, Rhode Island, and Cape Cod.
To begin Operation Bear, we decided to research. We wanted to determine the best platforms for the zoo to reach their audience on. By doing this, we'll also be able to determine if there are any platforms that the zoo is currently not using to its full potential.
To be able to utilize these potential channels, we needed to undergo research to see just what social media platforms people are using.
We also wanted to learn where the visitors of the Buttonwood Park Zoo were coming from, whether it be the South Coast or outside of it. And after that, we wanted to know where the Buttonwood Park Zoo visitors were getting their information. Whether that be the social media apps or the local news stations nearby, we wanted to know what we needed to do to reach them.
So to answer some of our questions, we met with the marketing director at the Buttonwood Park Zoo.
And to our benefit, the zoo itself logged some data that we deemed a viable resource to our campaign.
After that, we put together a visitor survey to get more details.
Our process began with weekly meetings with the marketing director, and from these meetings, we discovered that the biggest partner the Buttonwood Park Zoo had was a local radio station, Fun 107.
From the data we received, we were able to determine what the age of the visitor was, where they were from with their zip code, and if they were accompanied by children or not.
After that, we knew that we needed more information, which is when we put together our visitor survey, where we asked questions like what social media were you on, as well as what radio stations you listen to and what social media apps and blogs you're using.
Once we collected our data, we analyzed it and created our SWOT analysis.
And once this was done, we then created our solo mo marketing campaign.
From our research, we discovered that Operation Bear appealed to two target markets. The first market being the event attendee market, which was made up of 60% men and 40% women, mostly over the age of 21. The second market was the daily visitors market, which were between the ages of 22 and 44, mostly women accompanied by young children. For our SWOT analysis, we discovered that one of the strengths the Buttonwood Park Zoo had was their master plan, which is set to be completed in 15 years. Although this is a long-term plan, the master plan is intended to redesign and revamp the appearance and reputation of the zoo. Other strengths include the zoo being incredibly affordable, being open 362 days a year, being small in size, holding strong education values, and being located off the highway. Some of the weaknesses, however, overlapped with some of the strengths. For example, being open 362 days a year creates large overhead costs and seasonal high and low points. Also, the fact that the zoo is small in size means that families with older children might want to travel elsewhere for fun activities. And since the zoo is a nonprofit, sometimes it's hard to allocate the resources where they're needed best.
The opportunities that the zoo has are really thriving because it's a nonprofit. First of all, the local media in the area is definitely going to talk about us because they've got a lot to talk about with the master plan coming up. And they also have social media apps and their own apps where when we have a news story about us, like something with our master plan or an event that we have coming up, they get notifications directly to their cell phone, definitely focusing on that social, local, and mobile aspect. After that, we have local businesses nearby that are definitely willing to work with us because we are such an anchor to the South Coast community. And community events can be created pretty much anytime we want because we're open 362 days a year. We already have the facility. And we have a lot of volunteer staff definitely helping us out with those events. After that, the weather is where we begin our threats. Because we have that really cold New England weather in the winter, we don't know what kind of weather we're going to have day to day. And that really distinguishes how many people come on any given day. After that, there's competing attractions in the area and nearby outside of the South Coast that other people could go to instead of the Buttonwood Park Zoo. Animal captivity is kind of another issue because A lot of people think that animals in captivity are a bad thing, but we're really here to help the animals, so we really just need to let people know that.
When we first sat down with the zoo in early September, we found out that they were using social media, but they weren't using it to its full potential. Originally, they had 22,622 Facebook likes, 1,143 Twitter followers, and 580 Instagram followers. Now, with these numbers, we wanted to build an audience with these, so we wanted to grow Facebook by 5%, Instagram by 15%, and Twitter by 10%. With the time that we have already, we've already been able to grow Facebook by 4.2%, Instagram by 15.9%, and Twitter by 10%. Now, with this growth in social media in such a short time, this proved that our goals are obtainable. Our first and foremost important goal is to achieve 200,000 visitors in 1 year's time. Last year, in 2016, they had 175,000 visitors, and the year before, in 2015, they had 150,000 visitors.
We also wanted to increase event attendance by 5%, and we also thought it'd be a great idea to develop 2 new proposed events for the Buttonwood Park Zoo, one for each target market.
After that, we thought it would be a great idea to partner with one more local media outlet, being Fall River Events, a local blog that has a lot of social media presence, and a magazine coming out where they gave us a free ad.
By enhancing our social media, that would also build our audience, and it will allow us to engage with more people. Currently, the zoo does not have a Snapchat, and by creating a Snapchat, that will give frequent, up-to-date pictures and videos on what is happening at the zoo live.
Our last goal, which would be to develop social media content to have 1 post a day. We knew that building this social media would be a great way to keep people engaged with us on social media, and hopefully seeing these posts would then encourage them to revisit. Our Operation Bear begins with our proposed activities, the first one being a monthly piloted princess program where princesses would come to the zoo and engage with the children during lunchtime. Once a month we would have these princesses come, and we are working with a local business nearby, and they charged us only $200 for 2 princesses, which is the price of 1 princess, as well as giving us the first time free, which really helps our cost. These princesses have a very large social media following, which will definitely encourage people to come to the zoo. On any given day, they have around 50 people, and that's without animal encounters, which we would really bring something else to the table.
Our second proposed activity is a monthly dinner activity titled Food Truck Fridays. This event is geared towards more the event target market, and we plan on utilizing local food trucks in the area and mobile apps such as Roaming Hunger to attract people from the South Coast and those Rhode Island foodies to the zoo. We are proposing to charge each food truck $75, which we will increase a profit. It doesn't cost us much. And on top of this, we are gaining exposure as well as those food trucks.
As it currently stands now, the zoo does not have signage throughout the zoo promoting their social media accounts. We are proposing a one-time cost of $300 to get signage and stickers created that we can post in high foot traffic areas, such as the bathrooms and animal exhibits. We believe this will further increase our social media audience and will be able to engage with more and more people every day.
And if that doesn't get people engaging with us on social media, our last proposed idea definitely will. #BPZoo is a very low-cost activity where we're going to have people hashtagging #BPZoo and post their selfie with the bears or elephants onto their social media, making it consumer-driven marketing, all on social media and accessible from their mobile devices. This contest, we would pick a monthly winner of a family pass to the zoo, encouraging them to come back, spend money in the Bears Den cafeteria, as well as the gift shop and different activities they have going on in the zoo. Our Operation Bear timeline begins in May, where we will start with printing the signs and posting them throughout the zoo, as well as our event, Red, White, and Brew, a fun beer and wine event that takes place with Fun 107. As of right now, there's already 1,000 tickets sold, which went up from 700 from last year.
And in June is when summer vacation starts for the children of the area, so we plan on starting the princess lunches since children have more free time on their hands. And since the nights are longer and warmer, we also propose starting the Food Truck Fridays. And then for July and August, we plan on running these events again and then comparing the numbers from before.
As the summer comes to an end and the little bear cubs head back to school in early September, this will be a time for us to revisit with the marketing director and see all the success that Operation Bear has achieved.
Now, Operation Bear has a very bearable budget of just under $1,500, and this does include the monthly princess lunches, Food Truck Fridays, the signage, placing it throughout, and hashtag BPZoo Selfie Contest. We know that everyone will be engaging with us and building our audience and hopefully revisit the zoo. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
That's awesome. Nice job. Nice job.
The bear cubs.
Yeah.
Just came up with that, didn't you, this afternoon?
I do have a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
My first question is, do you have any research or any statistics that tell you the translation of increasing Facebook or Snapchat or Twitter in terms of what the audience is, how that actually translates into a new visitor at the zoo?
Well, what
Can
we
you
do
get
know,
there?
what we do know is that the zoo has less likes than they did. They started with less likes and they had more, and so far the engagement in the zoo has gone up with those Facebook likes. So we do feel like there definitely is a correlation. We don't have a one-for-one actual percentage, just because we don't actually have a way to track that. You don't log in while you're there. But we do know that with the consumer-driven stuff, that it is a larger audience to promote to, and it is a very low-cost way of promoting, because boosting an ad for $5 gets you in front of so many eyes, opposed to putting a sign on the billboard and not knowing how many people saw it.
You actually had one statistic of something that had increased just, it was down
Yeah.
here.
So we were able
Yeah.
to, in the short period of time that we have been working with the zoo,
Yeah.
and had access to their social media accounts, we were able to grow their Facebook by 4.2%.
Is there any way that you can go to the zoo and say, what was your visitors in March of 2017 versus March of 2016?
Yep, we can get access to those numbers.
If you could get access to those numbers, you could then prove it. If you see
Okay.
that the numbers actually come up, it's working. You know, more than the statistics that you gave, which are all good statistics, but they don't tell me it's working. Might be really neat to find out, except you're gonna have trouble with winter weather.
If you look at February, it won't be. I'm on the board of the zoo. I don't know.
February will be awesome because February's so warm this year.
Exactly. So that would really drive all in.
Yeah, look at February.
February we went from like
Yeah.
just February vacation went from like 10,000 visitors this year to like 7 last year.
So attribute it
It was a
to
Honestly,
snowstorm.
let's just use those numbers.
Declare victory.
Yeah.
Honestly, can we use those numbers?
Yeah, it was really like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It
Oh,
was-
well, that's a question to him.
it wasn't 7, but it was like maybe like 2,000 to 10. It was a staggering amount, and it had to do with the weather. Part of it was social media, I'm sure, just getting more, but
No,
but it's really the weather. It's really the weather.
Well, March would be a better in terms of, the Marches were similar to each other than the Februarys, right?
But we're also in California, so they wouldn't know how bad
Or
of
you
a
could,
February
or you
was.
could lump the two.
Yeah,
You could
but,
just say
but
a combined
take
February
go
March.
get the numbers
Yeah.
and take a look, because it may just, you know, you may just walk away with it saying, hey, it's working, which is always cool. I've got one more question. That question is, you said the cost of the campaign was $1,500.
Yes.
That went right past me, I didn't even get the number.
Yeah, okay, so $1,500. Those were the hard costs that you were going to expend. Who's the body that's gonna run all these things?
You wanna take that one?
I'm gonna answer that one.
Because that's a cost. That's an operating.
Staff time, it's
So our-
bandwidth.
Our staff mostly is volunteers,
Yeah,
as well as the fact that we are already open during these
Yeah.
hours. And then the other additional cost for people being there would be the princesses,
okay.
and that would be the $200, which we already budgeted for.
Then if you can say in your presentation, the costs are $1,500 a month, and we have the volunteers to provide the work that we need done.
Okay.
If you can say that, you've solved, where's the staff gonna come from?
Also, a lot of the people that would be working, like the food truck Friday, you wouldn't need much zoo staff. So the people that would be working might be salaried, anyways.
Except though you do, because somebody's gotta sign them up, get the contract signed.
Those
get
are
them-
usually,
That
That
would
would
be
be
a
salary.
salary position.
That business out, and do they have time to do it?
Well, it's a nonprofit, so no, but
Yeah.
they find a way to get it done.
Yeah. Cool.
alright Matt, tear us apart.
I'm impressed for how far you've and looking at where you were before that, I am impressed. Do you feel more comfortable without note cards?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Because you look it.
Oh yeah.
the note
Yeah,
cards
you guys are
were
going
helpful.
And my only critique, and this is the hardest still
Slow
for
down.
me today, is the hardest thing, slow down.
They were actually slower than they were yesterday.
Okay.
The two of them were like,
I know you know the material, and I know you know it well, and you present it phenomenally. Yeah. It's all it is. But the puns are great. How did you miss the $1,500? It's a bearable cost at only $1,500.
That I got. I remember the barrel part.
Yeah.
And you
That's
did-
Puns are
exactly the
good
Bear
and
Cup
you're.
joke.
And we did
and
mention in opportunities
Yes,
that we do have the volunteers
you-
as staff.
Alex does speak slowly enough.
Yeah.
It's
right.
Yeah,
maybe he's slowing them down a little just by his pace.
yeah, that's.
That's honestly probably it.
With the slow, you still have to be careful not to be sing-song,
Okay.
because you
Yeah.
do have a little rhythm
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to it, and try to be just a little bit more conversational.
Animated,
Okay.
yeah.
I think, and Paul may disagree, but I think the amount of back and forth is perfect.
Me too.
I don't think that you need to add any more or any less or any fewer transitions.
Transitions.
And the fact that you know who's speaking what and when, it's essentially seamless. And it keeps me engaged enough to go
Yeah.
back and forth. And especially, I mean, the posters are killer. You're gonna
Yeah.
find that those are some of the best posters that these judges will see
Yeah,
ever.
they are.
And that's a huge compliment to you and your sister.
To your sister, yeah, and to you,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a question now. When we kind of tried to tie everything up at the end, was that much better than where we were? And should we still try to,
Like do more there.
yeah, like tell you what we told you?
If
Tell me that it's working. If you can tie it up with the end, this is working. This is what's happened with our attendance since we started working with them.
Yeah.
You just blow their socks
Yeah.
off.
What is,
That's tangible.
and I don't know if you, I don't remember hearing it, because you met with the zoo already.
Mhm.
Should that be tied into anywhere into your presentation? Like we've already.
Quinn told us
Only if
to
they ask.
if they ask.
Only if they ask?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes the judges will ask, how likely is it that the principals will accept your proposals,
Yep.
and
And
then
then
what would you
that's when
say?
we would pull it out of our pocket and say, we've already met with them.
Okay.
And they loved it all.
Sort of.
Basically, they were like all about it except for food truck
Yeah.
Friday.
No, but you don't tell
But we
the
don't
judges
tell-
that.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you tell them that they are unwaveringly supportive of everything that you've come up with.
I think you can also be a little bit more open-ended, again, not sharing everything, not bearing all, but just saying, as we've said, because you've said it, as we've said, we've had a regular dialogue with them, and they continue to be open to our ideas, and so we feel that we can be successful in helping them to implement.
And then in
Along-
September, we say that
along
we're going
these
back to
lines.
see them.
Yeah.
With
I wouldn't be
that,
specific about what they do and don't like about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
no,
know that,
absolutely
but we don't need to share that.
So when we bring up the cost of Operation Bear, should we also include what what we believe that we can get out of it in return? Or should we save that for like question time? 'Cause, like we kind of already
Because we
calculated how
calculated
much.
it, and like if every single person who comes is from New Bedford and a child, we make $7,000. Like after.
Hold it for a question.
All right.
Okay.
Because
Great question.
it depends a lot on who you have for a judge. If you have a judge that's really into the marketing side of it, they're probably not going to have too many questions because he sold it. But if you have a judge who's really worried about the bottom line, he might throw out the questions about money because you touch on it a little bit. You give the cost of the princesses and you give the overall budget, and you're going to add the thing about it's all volunteer staff. So if somebody is worried about that, they'll ask, and you have the material to be able to deliver an answer.
You did it particularly well. You did it okay, but just be conscious of when the other people are speaking that you're paying attention to them, and you're kind of watching what they're doing, and there's and you all smiled, pleasant looks on your faces, which was good. What happens is sometimes when you're not talking, the tendency is to kind of the face
Drift
goes
off.
down, and yeah, exactly, and you don't want to do that because the judge is going to go right, your eyes are going to go right to you, and you're not the person talking, so you don't want.
Okay, so starting at the top.
Oh dear.